So you're looking to save money, you don't know where to start. In this video, I'm going to explain to you some critical habits you should develop in order to save money. You don't need to be a math whiz, you don't need a finance degree. It's really common sense stuff. I'm going to go through it in a few minutes. I'm sure it's going to be worth your time, so stay tuned. Hey folks, Julien, Regoli, CPA, CMA, finance coach. I explain financial concepts and money matters in simple terms so that everybody can understand. If you're interested in personal finance topics, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button. You'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. Thanks in advance for watching. The first step is how you think about wealth. There's two ways to think about it. Some think that wealth is the result of exploitation. Wealthy people have screwed other people. And another school of thought is wealth is the result of hard work and sacrifice. My point is, if your belief system has a negative view on wealth, meaning that, say your belief system tells you that, being wealthy is a sin, being wealthy is a result of having screwed and exploited a bunch of people, then it's going to be very difficult for you to start accumulating and building a fortune. So my question to you is, what is your belief around wealth? The second critical habit for saving is prioritization. The truth is, there's a limited amount of money coming into your account every month. So that means you got to keep track of what goes out. You have to prioritize. How do you prioritize? Well, you got to make choices, and the choices should be based on what you value most. So what is most important to you? For example, what's more important to you to eat at the restaurant 4 times a week, or to invest in your education or your children's education? What's more important to you? To drive around in a new car all the time and retire at 7 years old, or to drive a used car and retire at 55? I'm oversimplifying here, but this is critical. You need to make sure that you align your spending habits with what's most important to you, what you value the most. How you think about money and how you prioritize your spending are the foundations for saving and building wealth. If the foundations are strong, then making sacrifices and keeping that discipline are going to be much easier than if your foundations are weak. The third critical habit is to transfer a percentage of every paycheck into a savings account. I recommend at least 15 to 20% of your paycheck should go into a savings account. And ideally, it doesn't even come into your bank account. It goes straight into a savings account. And once it's in that savings account, you never ever touch it. It's your future, it's your retirement. You never borrow from it, you never withdraw from this account, you just forget about it. The only time you should be looking at that is for how to invest it. The fourth critical habit, and this is for the Canadians out there, use the registered accounts that the government has for us. And these are the RRSP program, the TFSA, and the RESP. These are amazing programs that allow you to save and to fast track to financial freedom. The RRSP offers tax breaks when you put money in there. RESPs is free money. The government pays you a grant every time you deposit money in there. That's free money. And the TFSA is beautiful because it allows you to put money in there, earn money tax-free, and you can take money out whenever you need to. It's very flexible when it comes to money withdrawals. I have videos on each of these programs, so take a look at them. But make sure you take advantage of all of these accounts. Ideally, maximize the amount of money you put in these accounts. Try to put the maximum amount, and you're going to, for sure, fast track to financial freedom. Okay, the next critical habit is tracking and budgeting. And here I can just see people rolling their eyes. Here it goes, the budgeting thing. But let me break it down for you. Let me simplify it, demystify it, and explain the importance of it. The first thing you want to do is you want to be able to track where the money, where your money's going, where you're spending money. Okay, so it's just keeping track. That's all it is. It's very easy. You know, you spend money, and you stick it in a category. For example, is it groceries? Is it restaurants? Is it the electrical bill? Is it cable TV? Is it the internet? So you have spending categories. And then you take a look at that, you study that, and you're like, okay, well, is that aligned with what I value the most? You know, the restaurant bill is higher than my education. Is that really aligned with what's important to me? Do I value more going to the restaurants, or do I value more investing in my education? You got to make sure that your spending pattern is aligned with what is most important to you and what you value the most. Really important to do that. You got to do that regularly. So the second thing you do, so once you've tracked where the money's going, the second thing you do is you budget. So budget is basically setting objectives and setting amounts for each of these cost categories. For example, you might want to reduce that restaurant bill so that you can put more in education, more into savings. So what the budget does is you say, okay, well, I'm going to create some limits so that I can make sure that I'm aligning my spending properly with what's most important to me. What's really critical in this process is the saving part. The way you deal with saving is that you shave it off from the top. So say you're earning $3,000 a month. You've got net in your pocket, $3,000 a month. That's your paycheck. From that, you deduct your savings. So say you're putting away, you plan to put away 20% of your income directly into your savings. So your starting point for the month is $3,000 less your savings of 20%. So that would be $600. So that would leave you with $2,400 for all your other expenses of the month. What this process is paying yourself first. It's a cliche, but that's what it is. And so this way you're making sure that your savings are a priority instead of, whatever's left at the end of the month is what's going to go in my savings. It's never going to happen if you do it that way. You got to do it first. Put the money in your savings. Whatever's left is for your expenses. So folks, what are your main concerns about saving? What are your questions? What are you anxious about? What's working for you? What's not working? Share it in the comments below the video. Much appreciated. I like this. I like it when it's interactive and there's an engagement between me and the people watching the video. The second point I wanted to say is that you'll find a free checklist in the video description. There's a link. You'll be able to access a free checklist which outlines the critical habits to saving money. So it's essentially a summary of this video. So take a look at that, download it so you can review it, keep that, and study it whenever you would like. The next critical habits have to do with two very important spending categories, one being the home and the other being the car. What I would recommend is stay in a modest house. Try to aim for convenience rather than extravagance. Try to live in an area that is close to your activity, what I call the activity radius. Your activity radius are usually around work, family, and school. So try to choose a house that is close to all that, because if you're close to everything, that means you probably don't need two cars. You can have only one car or even zero cars and use public transport, a bicycle, or basically rent a car whenever you want to do an outing. So maybe being closer to your activity radius means paying a higher price on the house, but that also means less expenses around transportation, traveling, car expenses, and not to mention the lost time. Say your time in traffic. That's time away from family. So you got to consider all that when you buy your house. There's a rule kicked around in the industry, and that's your house expenses should be in the 25% range, so of your income. So if you earn $100,000, then $25,000 should be for your home expenses. That's a general rule. With real estate prices being a bit out of whack these days, that could it'll be hard to keep. So you may be looking at 30-35%, but just keep a lid on it and aim for convenience more than extravagance. That's the point. Car expenses. Cars are very expensive. They're expensive to buy. When you buy new, you have to pay 2 taxes here in Quebec and most provinces of Canada. There's the GST, there's the QST, and as soon as you drive it off the lot, the price of your car immediately drops. So the best thing to do around cars is to buy used. You can buy a car that's 3 to 5 years old. You can find a great car for $12,000 or less. I usually buy a car that has not too high mileage, has low mileage, good maintenance records, has one owner, a car that looks in decent shape. I usually get the car inspected. So there's a lot of ways around reducing your risk when you're purchasing a used car. So the next critical habits have to do with debt. And just two things I'll explain. One is the distinction between good debt and bad debt. So what you want to do is avoid bad debt. It's okay to get some good debt, but you want to avoid bad debt. So the difference between the two is good debt is a debt you take on to acquire something that generates income or appreciates in value, or both. For example, you take on debt to buy a house or investment property. Investment property is real estate. Usually real estate goes up in value with time. Another example is you buy a business. A business generates revenues and usually generates a profit. With that profit, you can pay your debt expenses, so your principal and your interest payments. Bad debt is tied to something that depreciates in value and doesn't generate any income. For example, you buy a car, the car depreciates very, very fast. It doesn't generate any money. It really costs you money. It costs you money to maintain it, to insure it. So a car depreciates and costs you money. Another example is furniture, appliances, TVs, that kind of stuff. If you get debt to purchase that stuff, it's bad debt. Avoid it. If you don't have the money, don't buy that stuff. That's what it comes down to. The second concept I'd like to talk to you about around debt is credit card debt. If you have any credit card debt, okay, cut your credit card. Okay, cut it. Credit card debt is extremely expensive. We're talking close to 20%. Okay, so if you don't have the money to pay it off, what you can do is always get a personal loan. Personal loans are cheaper at an interest rate of 6 to 8%, depends. Right now we're in September 2020. You could probably get a personal loan with a decent interest rate. Another way is to use the line of credit on your home. Since a line of credit, home line of credit is backed by your home, the bank has less risk, and therefore the interest rate on that is usually low. You can probably find something at around 3% right now. Essentially, what you're doing is you're replacing a high-cost debt, so the credit card debt, with a low-cost debt, the line of credit debt or the personal loan. That's what you're doing. You're swapping. You're still going to owe that money. It's just that instead of costing you 18, 20% or whatever, 22%, you're replacing that with a debt that costs you 6 to 8% or 3% in the case of a line of credit. Another critical habit you want to develop is to keep learning. It's really important because yes, you're going to rely on some people and you're going to surround yourself with some people who will advise you on financial matters, but you need to know the basics. You need to know a minimum to know if you're going into the right direction, to align your spending. And nobody's going to align your spending but you. So you need to read up on it, watch videos, read books, stay informed, listen to the news, and keep learning. Once you learn and you keep the habit of learning, it'll get easier as you go. And again, folks, you don't need to be a math whiz or have a degree in finance. It's common sense. Saving is common sense. Another critical habit is to develop a financial network. What is that? Financial network is a group of people you can surround yourself with, that you can discuss money matters with. They could be business owners, entrepreneurs, financial advisors, investors. These are people you can have a dialogue with and get a sense of, the economy, a business scenario, business investment that you're looking into and you're not sure, and you'd like a sounding board before you dive into the investment. This is really critical for your development, and also it'll improve your financial situation, your financial intelligence, and ultimately will help you fast track to financial freedom. I hope this video helps you. If you liked it, smash the like button. If you want to book a one-on-one with me, feel free to do so. There's a link in the description of the video. Any questions or comments, drop them in the section below the video. Thanks for your time today, and we'll see you real soon.